listeners, both in Liberia and in the diaspora, I'd like to welcome you to the Charles William Press Hall, where our regular Tuesdays and Thursday press briefings are held. The Chief Administrator of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism is Honorable Galakpai Martin Pia. Mr. Pia is presently deputized by the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, Honorable Daniel Sando. I'd like to invite Honorable Sando, who will make his introductory comments, after which he will invite our guests. Mr. Sando.
Good afternoon to you members of the Liberian media. We are happy to be back in the Charles William conference room to continue the conversation on the progress of our country and to also speak to other issues of national concern. Today we have a full house, and as you can see before you, we have the Director General of the General Services Agency, Honorable Galakpai W. He's here as always to speak to you on some of the engagement, the activities of the General Services Agency. They control government fleet management, and so he's here. We also have Councillor Edwin Kla Jr., the Chairman for Legal Affairs at the Board of Tax Appeal. Councillor Kla is accompanied by Councillor Benjamin B. Steward Jr., who is the Executive Director of the Board of Tax Appeal. This is our first time here, and we are happy to have them as we all seek to communicate on behalf of the government of Liberia to the Liberian people. But to sum up the list of guests we have here today, we have a very familiar team. The President's Asset Recovery Task Force. Now the task force, following its constitution by the executive order, has been through the test of time. Like the three Hebrew brothers, the Asset Recovery Task Force have been through the fire furnace, and they are back. All of the legal hurdles that were posed to the existence and the constitution of the tax force have been legally adjudicated by the appellate court in the land, the Supreme Court. And so I was joking to the minister, I said, well, the Asset Recovery Tax Force they already prepared a press statement. Because as soon as the Supreme Court ruled, they issued a press statement. But it is good for the democracy of our country that our disagreement on policy issues cannot be resolved through the barrels of the gun or through the fix of the muscles, but through legal arguments. And so those who sought to challenge the existence of the Asset Recovery Task Force have been given the benefit of the doubt by the country's judicial system. And so they are back, they are ready, they are able and prepared to do the work for which they were constituted and commissioned by the President. So Councillor Edwin Kla Martin is the head of the Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force. They will be the first to speak because the public anticipation about the workings of the task force is very high. And so Councillor Martin will speak. He'll be followed by the Director General of the General Services Agency, and then the Board of Tax Appeal will make their presentation. From there, we'll take your questions and they will provide the answers. But before I invite Councillor Martin to the podium, we have to speak to some issues that are unfolding in the country, just to do some house clearing. Yesterday appeared very chaotic in Morovia. The motorcyclists were on a rampage. The police were busy as far as protecting lives and property and ensuring public safety is concerned. What led to that action yesterday? We are told by the authorities of the Liberia National Police that a moving vehicle gave up on Crown Hill. The driver managed to pull the vehicle down the hill, and then while approaching the Steward Airport, the vehicle ran into a motorbike, and unfortunately, it led to the death of one person. That single action led to the outrage that was staged by the motorcyclists yesterday. The incident occurred in Slipway, down the hill there, Johnson Street. The motorcyclists went on a rampage on a spree of destruction of public facilities. All of the booths that host the police officers to direct the traffic from as far as Tottenham Boulevard, Central Morovia, Freeport, all the booths were destroyed by the motorcyclists. And so that single action points to the fact that there is some vulnerability that the citizens and the public are exposed to. So as a result of the action of the motorcyclists yesterday, the Liberia National Police has announced a temporary restriction on the movement of commercial motorbikes in what they consider the compliance zones along key corridors, including from the EFWA junction to SKD Boulevard junction to Tottenham Boulevard, Single, and to Central Morovia. And this compliance zone extends from Freeport to Valtown and Central Morovia. So as a result of this temporary restriction, commercial motorbikes will not be allowed to run in these areas. This is because the LMP has to assess the level of vulnerability and the threats so that they can be able to address it as the arm of government that is responsible to ensure law and order in the country. So the LMP is calling on the public to please bear patience with them. This latest action is not meant to punish the public, but it is meant to ensure public safety. Every day we complain that the country is lagging behind in terms of infrastructure. When an unfortunate incident occurred, what do? We go on a rampage, we go on a destruction spree, and destroy the little we have. Those police booths are equipped to real-time cameras that will capture criminal activities and even monitor the traffic. When an incident occurred in Slavery, you go across the city and you destroy everything. The LNP has also expressed deepest condolences to the family of the individual who lost his life. It is unfortunate that it turned out to be that way, and that they also assure the family of the victim that justice will be served. Still with the LNP, a police officer is currently being investigated. He was off duty and he used his assigned weapon to kill a civilian in the Banjo Virginia Township area a week ago. Again, the police conveyed deepest sympathy to the deceased family and assured them that justice will be done by bringing the perpetrator of the act to face the full weight of the law. The President, His Excellency Joseph Boyka, yesterday lifted the suspension of Madam Director Lassana as chairperson of the National Elections Commission with immediate effect. The decision was reached following a high-level meeting held on Wednesday, 18 February 2025 at the Executive Mansion. The meeting was attended by the NEC Board of Commissioners, the ECOWAS Ambassador to Liberia, and senior officials of the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. The reinstatement of Chairperson Lassana comes after a series of extensive discussions among the NEC Board of Commissioners and senior advisors to the President, leading to an agreement on enhanced cooperation among the commissioners and the reversal of dismissal actions previously taken against certain NEC employees. In reinstating Chairman Lassana, His Excellency the President emphasized the importance of unity and professionalism within the National Elections Commission. He urged the commissioners to foster closer collaboration, avoid any perception of internal discord within an institution that holds significant public trust. The President further called for renewed efforts to restore harmony between the Commission's leadership and its staff. So, with reference to the first talking point, the LNP notes that 5 persons were arrested in connection to the violent incident that occurred yesterday. Several motorbikes have also been confiscated. These individuals, as required by the laws of Liberia, will be investigated, processed, and sent to court. And the police have assured us that they will ensure that it is done expeditiously. The investigation into the arson attack on the Capitol building is ongoing. Like we have always said, criminal investigations are processed. And we have called on members of the public to give the investigation a chance. So yesterday, the Liberia National Police resumed or is continuing the investigation into the arson attack on the Capitol building. On yesterday, the police invited individuals considered to be persons of interest in that incident. Those invited yesterday are Representative Dixon Sibu and Representative Abu Bana Kamara. They were basically invited for interview. The interview started and it will continue throughout the week, in as much as they are considered persons of interest. They are encouraged to cooperate with the investigation. And of course, the police announced additional individuals that are also considered persons of interest. In due course, those individuals will be invited accordingly. A statement will be attracted from them to aid the investigation. Now, for those who want to always politicize these kind of investigation, I want to caution you to be mindful. The state has got the authority to investigate any act that violates the penal law of Liberia. Arson is a crime under Liberian law. When somebody is invited in connection to an arson attack, and you carry placard to show solidarity, yeah, it's good to show solidarity to your people, but you have to do so bearing in mind that the state has got that obligation, that duty to investigate any and every crime that is committed in Liberia. And we must give the authority the opportunity, the time, and the briefing space to do their work. That being said, let me now invite So let me now invite Councillor Edwin Kla Martin, the head of the Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force. He will make a presentation and will go by the order that I announced previously.
Honorable Gerald Matthew PR, Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism. Honorable Daniel Sando, Deputy Minister of Information. The Honorable Director General, General Services Agency, Board of Tax Appeal, Dr. Rennie Jackson, and other members of IRA present, distinguished platform guests, and members of the press. Mr. Minister, congratulations for the modern development that you have done. We are so impressed. I want to use this medium to extend profound gratitude to the Honorable Minister of Information for the privilege and opportunity granted IREP to appear on this national platform to provide updates, achievements, and challenges over the period of 11 months, from March 20, 2024 to February 2025. Today, Liberia has regained its international dignity and reputation as a consequence of the hard work and performance by His Excellency Jose Yemagwaka. Over the period of 1 year, the President has demonstrated and set standards for national development, and for the first time in the governance of Liberia declared war on corruption through its action of suspension and submission of those involved to investigation. For this dramatic and bold step, I extend profound gratitude to the President and promise him that it has resurfaced from its legal battle to add firepower to the war on corruption and the illegal possession of stolen and suspicious assets. IRED says that there will be no more interference as all of its command structures have been legally reinforced to resist the evil forces of corruption and theft. The Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force came into existence as a consequence of Executive Order Number 126, which was announced by the President in consonance with his constitutional powers granted by the 1986 Constitution under Chapter 2, Article 5C. Apart from its function and responsibility to identify, trace, and recover stolen assets, IRED was empowered with several mandates which include the following. 1. To identify and trace all of Liberia's stolen and suspicious assets within and out of the borders of Liberia. 2. Constitute investigative panel to probe into Liberia's stolen and suspicious assets. Constitute an effective and robust legal research and investigative team to procure and prepare tangible evidence. 4. Initiate immediate criminal prosecution and civil litigation where applicable on behalf of the government of Liberia. Upon adjudication, return confiscated assets to Liberia. 6. Place travel and other restrictions on all individuals identified as suspects while ongoing investigation for stolen and suspicious assets. Last, employ diplomatic and Interpol means to extradite individuals identified as suspects that are outside the bailiwick of Liberia in order to bring them under the jurisdiction for prosecution. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, IRED in its efficacy of its second mandate, which states, and I quote, constitute an investigative panel to probe into Liberia's stolen and suspicious assets, unquote. Our team of investigators, along with other state actors, elected to make an inquiry into Gracious Ride legitimate title documents since its acquisition and operation as a transport company was suspicious. Following this action, IRED received 8 court writs from Gracious Ride, who was under its investigation for suspicious assets. Their dates, name of the writs, venue the courts are as follows. March 8, 2024, prohibition. Name of the petitioner, Gracious Ride, Court, Supreme Court. April 4, 2024, prohibition. Name of the petitioner, Anita Group of Company, Gracious Ride, Court, Supreme Court. April 8, 2024, prohibition. Name of the petitioner, Anita Group of Company, Gracious Ride, Supreme Court. April 5, 2024, in-read unconstitutionality. Name of the petitioner, Anita Group of Company, Gracious Ride, Supreme Court. May 7, summary proceedings. Name of the petitioner, Anita Group of Company, Gracious Ride, Civil Law Court B. May 23, 2024, summary proceeding. Name of the petitioner, Anita Group of Company, Gracious Ride, Civil Law Court B. May 30, 2024, prohibition. Name of the petitioner, Anita Group of Company, Gracious Ride, Supreme Court. June 4, 2024, in-read unconstitutionality. Name of the petitioner, Anita Group of Company, Gracious Ride, Supreme Court. 8 writs from one institution that was declared suspicious and was ongoing investigation. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, on this day, June 4th, the Honorable Supreme Court issued a stay order on IRED, which lasted for 9 months. Following the hearing of the e-read unconstitutional, for the hearing of the e-read unconstitutionality filed by Anita Group of Company, Aaron made 6 requests for assignment for the disposition of this matter. Unfortunately for Aaron, the matter was finally assigned on January 14, 2025. After final argument, the Honorable Supreme Court ruled and denied Anita Group of Company petition, thereby legitimizing the constitutional power of Executive Order number 126 on February 18, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I am super proud to state that our legal team headed by me defeated Anita Group of Companies racial right in all of its legal engagement. We are set to beat anyone legally who will challenge the legitimacy and authority of the Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Act. Congratulations to the entire membership and the legal team of ARA for this victory. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, ARA wishes to inform the general public and the media that it has, over the period of 9 months, complied with the Supreme Court stay order in obedience to the rule of law. The entire country does not rule of law. Now that the Supreme Court has ruled in our favor, SIM has settled the legality and legitimacy over Executive Order number 126 and the constitutional existence of the tax rules in consonance with Article 5C of the 1986 Constitution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, I have informed the media and the general public that immediately after the ruling from the High Court, it had on the 19th day of February put in motion to set the stage to commence its investigation on the following: possession of illegal assets, suspicious assets, and theft of public resources. I maintain that in as much as it complies with the rule of law, it calls on all persons of interest who will be invited for questioning to also comply and abide by the same rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I state that wakeful and deliberate refusal on the part of persons of interest not to respect its invitation, its investigative panel will be left with no alternative but to use available evidence in its possession to formally charge, indict, and subsequently prosecute said persons in keeping with law. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the task force wants to inform the media and the public that it has verified and taken seizure of 17 high-profile cases ranging from theft of public assets, acquisition of suspicious property, theft through fake road construction companies and construction firms, theft of liquid assets. During the period of the 9 months here, other persons of interest acting under the cover of darkness criminally transferred suspicious money from their accounts, changed bank accounts, title, illegally crossed government vehicles to neighboring countries and sold them, respray and change the original identity of GOL vehicles, change title deeds overnight, and falsify documents to evade the original identity of GOL assets. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I want to inform the media and the general public that its surveillance and intelligence unit is on the full alert and those involved will be exposed. Meanwhile, IRA is requesting the media and the public to report acts of theft in the following categories. 1. Suspicious homes in your communities. Suspicious homes in your community. GOL assets, vehicle, air moving, equipment, yellow machines, etc. I am maintaining that all the reporting persons' identity will be protected. These are the following channels of reporting. 1. Information box at Aaron Health Office, Golden Key Compound, King Grade, RIA Highway. Phone numbers +231 778 611 836 or 231 880 358-205 or on WhatsApp. And our email address, you have the statement given to you. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I am proud to report that it has established international cooperation with dozens of international partners in the UK, Ghana, and Nigeria. As part of its solidarity and support to RM, one of its partners of the UK is expected in Liberia next month to assist in a review of its evidence and provide support to the government of Liberia in the fight against corruption. Through the aid of our international partners, RM has identified 3 hotspots in the world where Liberia's stolen liquid assets were being banked and invested. 1, Ghana. 2, Ivory Coast, and 3, Dubai. We are working overnight with our international partners to ensure that proper international protocols and litigation are applied for the repatriation of those assets. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I reiterate that it will move the legal battle in those hotspots to ensure that Liberia's stolen assets are identified, traced, and recovered. I anticipate all officials of government to honor its invitation in the event they are needed to aid its investigation. I maintains that their compliance will enhance and provide speedy process in the investigation. In conclusion, Liberia has gone through a lot as a consequence of theft and corruption. It's about time we rise up to fight this. When the battle is won, our infrastructure development will be transformed. Hospitals, schools, and roads will be modernized to meet international standards. Join Arab in the fight. No turning back, no business as usual, no more impunity. There will be no wish fund, but there will be fund for stolen and suspicious assets. I thank you.
Thank you,
Good morning. Honorable Minister of Information and his deputies, Honorable Chairman, Asset Recovery, Councilor Edwin Kla, BOTA commissioners and directors, distinguished Hope Estate, ladies and gentlemen. We are so happy today again to appear here for the second time to talk to our people, especially the ministries, agencies, and commissions. Our appearance here today is in fulfillment of protecting government assets. We want to first thank the Ministry of Information for collaborating with us and saying the work that has been done at the level of the ministry here in partnership with the General Services Agency. Before the Christmas, we were invited by the minister to come and do some facelift of this building. And with the professionalism we got at the General Services Agency, our men from the PBM, the Public Building Maintenance, were deployed, and today, the can see the information ministry shining. And so, Minister, we want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as I said, I was jokingly telling Kla Martin that they better wake up. We are so happy again for the judicial system because the asset recovery is there to give strength, to regain the property of the General Services Agency. And so, Honorable Kla Martin, we say welcome and thank you for your brilliant fight. We know we are going to redeem this country because the taxpayer money is being misused. And so, as you saw on the agenda, we have come today to talk on a few things here. One is to have value for money. And on our watch at the General Services Agency, we said it at the time when we were doing the budget execution workshop, that indeed the General Services Agency has worked on a fleet policy, a new fleet policy. And that policy will be looked at by cross stakeholders, along with the Finance Ministry and all of the MICAT institutions. And decisions will be done, and then that new policy will be launched. But in our aspect, as we are about to execute the 2025 budget, where ministries, agencies, and commissions have started executing already, there's a need for us to come and refresh the minds of ministers, directors, and the procurement entity of those ministries. That indeed, there are some vehicles, there are some other items that are not required under the job government of Liberia purchasing system. We have done some historical investigation on some of these assets, and we have realized that it cannot value for money. So, we have sound this out to all marks that in the event of procurement of vehicle, please with the General Services Agency, where our technicians will go and review and access those cars and then give you the right of way for you to do the procurement. We have realized over the years that vehicles that are coming into the country, some are not being maintained, and when they are purchased by governments, it does not even last for 2 years. An engine is damaged, either because of whatever, I don't know, biofuel or whatever it is. And most of these cars, we have realized that it is those cars that got this electronic nozzle. And so, we are taking an example. The past government bought cars for chiefs, if you ever remember. And those cars were displayed, and today you cannot find them anymore because they were all electronic nozzle. All of the engine are damaged. And they could not even run for 2 years. We got some at Uptown Garage, where the Uptown Garage had to change all of those car engine, and because the Internal Affairs Ministry maybe have not gotten the funding to go and regain those vehicles, they are still there. And so we are saying on our watch, government will not procure any vehicle that will not go for 2 years. So we are putting a stop order on all vehicles that got electronic nozzle in the fleet of government. That's the first thing. So before you procure, please come at the General Services Agency where we will guide you and then tell you the type of vehicle that should be bought. We all know that the centralized purchasing system that existed before, through the creation of the PPCC, that centralized purchasing system has been divorced, and now we got decentralized purchases that is going on. So meaning all ministries, agencies, and commission can do their own purchases, but we should regulate and guide the process so that you cannot bring something that people will not use. 2, we have come today again as a chairman for asset recovery said. Over the years, most of government vehicles have flown over the boundaries and gone into neighboring countries that we cannot account for. And so in our own wisdom, we have met with the Liberia Immigration Service, and we had this meeting, and I've done an announcement that every vehicle that leaves from Liberia, government-owned vehicle, should have a certificate or a pass from the General Services Agency, whether you are going for official duty or whatever problem you are going for. Come and have that pass from the General Services Agency attached to the government vehicle before it crosses any of our border points. And so we have done our announcement, and this is the announcement. I told my PRO to also share this with the journalists so that it can be carried all out. And it will be placed at various entry point of Liberia that this is a requirement that you're supposed to make before you carry any vehicle out. So we want to thank you and thank His Excellency for having the confidence in us, and we know we are going to do all in our power to make sure we protect the property of government. In the soonest possible time, upon the arrival of the Minister of Finance, we are going to convene a 2-day stakeholder workshop where you, the journalists, will be invited and will be displaying the new fleet policy and drilling you through with all of the ministries and agencies, where we'll be inviting two persons from each of the ministries, agencies, and commissions. That is the property officer and the fleet director, or whatever they call it, whoever is responsible for assets, whoever is responsible for fleet, in those bureaus that will come, and we'll have that 2 days deliberating on issues as to where they are, so as to protect government property and not being looted by unscrupulous people. So we want to tell you, thank you, Honorable Minister, for giving us this privilege to come, and we'll always be here again to share with you whatever information that is needed to guard our property. Thank you, and may God save the state. Thank you very much.
Pierre, Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Honorable Daniel Sando, Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, Minister of Information. Honorable Kla Martin, Chairman, Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Team. Honorable Galakpai W, Kortima Director, General Services Agency, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Before I proceed with what BOTA has been called for today, I'd like to take this time to extend to Mr. Minister a heartfelt thanks and appreciation by the Chairman and member of the Board of Tax Appeal for the opportunity you afforded us, especially the first time, to come and address the public nationally. Having said that, I'd like to proceed with what BOTA, the Board of Tax Appeal, is all about. The Board of Tax Appeal, commonly known as BOTA, and the appeal process. This body was established as a quasi-judicial body under Section 60 of the Revenue Code of 2002, to resolve dispute between taxpayer and the Revenue Authority, LRA. What's the mandate of the Board of Tax Appeal? The Board of Tax Appeal serves as an independent and impartial platform for hearing and resolving tax disputes. It ensures fairness and compliance with Liberian tax law. Jurisdiction. BOTA handles appeal on decision made by the LRA regarding tax assessment, penalties, interest, or other matters under the Liberian Revenue Code. It does not cover criminal tax matters, which are handled by the Ministry of Justice. BOTA is composed of 6 commissioners with expertise in taxation, finance, and legal matters. Members are appointed by the President for 5 years. The appeal process. All taxpayers have a set of rights referred to as the Bill of Rights. When these rights are violated through denial, disrespect, or inadvertence, the tax code provides mechanisms to enforce them. These mechanisms include the Protest and Objection Panel, the Board of Tax Appeal, the Tax Court, and the Supreme Court to hear before the Board of Tax Appeal as a taxpayer. You must first engage with the Liberia Revenue Code, LRA. The appeal process begins with the LRA issue a tax assessment bill. If you disagreed with the assessment, you must formally notify the LRA of the disagreement. The LRA will then conduct a formal hearing to review your objection and disputes. If you still disagree with the board's decision, you have the right to take the case to the tax court. The tax court will conduct another hearing to address the dispute. If you are not satisfied with the tax ruling, you may appeal to the Supreme Court for a final review and determination. Challenges. From 2018 to May 2023, the Board of Tax Appeal was not fully reconstituted by the former administration. The decision not to reconstitute the board has serious consequences, prompting the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia to intervene and issue a ruling directing aggrieved taxpayers to appeal directly to the tax court. This delay reversed years of public awareness effort undertaken by the board, leading to the perception that the board was virtually not existent. As a result, the board is experiencing a decline in receiving appeal from taxpayers, as many either believe the board no longer exists or view it as merely an alternative to the tax code. The board has yet to see small taxpayers like Yana Boy take advantage of the appeal process before the board. Gains. From November 2023 to February 2025, the board was fully reconstituted and began hearing cases. Since November 2024, the Board of Tax Appeal has heard more than 20 cases, including 6 of them which have generated over $349,000 in government revenues. 14 cases remain pending with over $2 million tied up in appeal process. The board and the Ministry of Finance, spearheaded by Deputy Minister Anthony Myers, are working out modalities to align the board's policy with the arrest agenda in making the boat accessible to the public. Since November 2024, the Board of Tax Appeal has heard more than 20 cases, including 6 of them, which have generated over $349,000 in government revenue. 14 cases remain pending, with over $2 million tied up in appeal process. With budgetary support in 2024, the board procured 2 vehicles to facilitate outreach. Additionally, 20 kVA generator was acquired to alleviate electricity gap experienced by the board and subsequently enhance the appeal process and ensure the delivery of justice. Under the same 2024 budgetary allotment, the board is currently touring the country in collaboration with the LRA to educate taxpayers on appeal process and inform them of their rights under the Tax Bill of Rights. Meanwhile, the 2024 budget saw the completion of rental arrears of Board of Tax Appeal spanning over 2 years. Since the tour in Ganta and Grand Bassa counties, the board had begun receiving complaints from these 2 counties. Hearing process. The Board of Tax Appeal will schedule to review the case in section 61 of the Liberian Revenue Code 8. Both the taxpayer and the revenue authority present their argument and pieces of evidence before the board. The taxpayer be present. The taxpayer may be represented by a lawyer, tax professional, or self-explanation. After reviewing the submission and pieces of evidence, the Board of Tax Appeal issue a decision 60 days after the hearing. The decision is binding unless further appeal is made within 60 days, and this can be found on section 60G of the Liberian Revenue Code. Further appeal. If either party is dissatisfied with the Board of Tax Appeal's decision, they may appeal to the tax court for judicial review. If they are also dissatisfied with the decision at the tax court, they may also appeal to the Supreme Court on judicial review. Thank you, Mr. Minister, and member of the Court.
Many thanks to Councillor Cllr, Director Kortima, and Councillor Martin for their insightful presentation, very concise. We now anticipate questions from you members of the press. We similarly expect that your questions should please be tailored around the issue that is spoken to. So we take questions. Pamela, can we on that?
Thank you so much, the panelists. My name is Steward Jr. I work for Spoon Network. Quickly to Honorable Kortima for the GSA. Recently, we saw the LACC, impounded the vehicle belonging to the suspended local boss. The team went there and took away those vehicles. The other day, when we were here, you announced that a vehicle taken away from the former Commerce Minister, that vehicle was going to be used for guests coming to the country. what are you intending to do with Madam Swakpo's vehicle and where is it? To the asset recovery thing, he spoke. Thank you again for the deliberation. He spoke about recovering assets for wherever they may be. But Liberians are concerned about the time you're going to start your investigation from what administration. Some are saying maybe you're going to begin this from the time the country was funded, or what administration are you going to start from 2018 to 2023? Liberians are concerned about that. You can throw light on that for us. And then the next question finally before I can you spoke about 17 doing, you said that there are 17 persons, if I got you right, 17 persons or institutions identified during your time in court with patients' rights. Can you tell us some of the individuals you were able to identify, some of those 17 persons or institutions, where are they, and what efforts you are making in the soonest possible time to get to recover some of what is stolen from the government, please.
Thank you. My name is James Nambala, and I'm reporting for Retrieval Team in MICAT County. My questions go to Councillor Martin. With the constitutional legitimacy that you have, what was the specific issues or issue that led to the state order on your function there? And what assurance can you give the Liberian people that there will be no more state order to jeopardize their functions in the Liberian Army in regard to the recovery of the assets in this country? This one is to the CSA boss. GSA boss, sorry. You are coming up with new policy according to you. You have government properties in the various counties. Do you have agents in the counties to monitor these properties in regards to when government guys are to apply to the streets and by what hours government guys should leave and be back into their regular for the next week? And this one goes to both of you. How cooperative are the two teams? Because the CSA and RS are GSA and RS are almost like working together. One was being almost state order. How cooperative are the two partners in regard to your GSA putting cars in the streets and that RS is there making sure to record these assets if they are stolen? How is the working relationship in regard to that? Thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Kura Thompson and I report for the truly independent news. I have two concerns. The first one goes to Councillor Martin. The executive order that gave you the legal right to retrieve government assets has a 1-year lifespan which ends this coming March. Many Liberians believe that you did not fully deliver due to a prolonged legal battle with gracious wrath. Now, here are you giving basics for going forward. Is the president in any way thinking about revisiting the executive order or renewing the executive order? Secondly, to Minister Sano, the issue of accident on the Slave-Way Road is not something new. Even police officers have reportedly lost their life due to alleged brake failure. The certain thing is that most people refer to the road as something meant for old cars. Is the government in any way thinking about putting in measures to stop these accidents? Thanks.
So good afternoon, Mr. Member. I'm the Manuel Chair at Gaswa and I'm the BRC at Steward Jr. Corporation, parent company of 21191.9. Two questions quickly for Councillor Martin. How do you respond to impinge Associate Justice Cabinet General and said the victory you are claiming now, the court did not, the opinion did not cover the question posed by racial right. According to him, racial right was contesting the constitutional right of the president to establish a quasi-anti-graft institution under the framework of the LCC. So Cabinet General is saying the court did not answer that question. Instead, the who serve the judicial round, you have no legal standing to ask this question. So as a legal person, as the area of this team, how do you, state the president's constitutional responsibility to establish that? And a bit to the question is that how do you convince people who have this doubt that the process will be marked by which one, owing to the fact that you had a fraud with the past government, and the subject of your investigation now, the burning point, it has to do with somebody who played a key part in the past government. Thank you.
Thank you. You asked about the first questionnaire asks what administration will we start from? Mind you, on our statute, we have the statute of limitation. And that statute bars anyone affirmatively to the opportunity of the accused after 5 years, once that matter was not brought to the attention of prosecuting court, or the high attention did not act, that stands as an affirmative defense for the accused. But if the matter had not been brought up and the government or the prosecuting entity takes seize of that matter, the statute of limitation will not exist. So mind you that this is why we are putting the challenge to you. Asset recovery cannot do it all. We are only there under the auspices of the law and the Constitution to ensure that our mandates, our responsibilities, and those functioning authority that have been given to us will be effectuated to the letter. So we'll count on you, the press, to give us information as indicated in our press statement. And those indications and reports will help us to trace, identify, and recover from whatever administration. Once will not be barred by the statute of limitation, I can assure you that will happen. Then the second here is that I didn't say 17 high-profile individuals. I said 17 high-profile cases. High-profile cases, those cases were verified. We had our legal panel, our investigative panel, that went through all the pieces of evidence, and we narrowed them down to 17 because those evidence have weight, they are tangible, they are cogent enough, and those are pieces of evidence that you can use in the court of prosecution to gain success. The specific reason for which the state order was issued and for which Gracia Rad took asset recovery on unconstitutionality. There's a petition in our legal jurisprudence for every unconstitutionality. That means that the action of the authority is outside or has violated the Constitution, and that action by that person violate the rights of another person. So Gracious Right contention was that the president did not have the constitutional power to announce Executive Order number 126. And our reliance and defense for the president was that no, you are in error. The president has the constitutional right under Chapter 2, Article 5C of the 1986 Constitution. We gave the president the right, like in law, we say stare decisis. Other presidents have announced executive orders, and those things were never challenged. Previous presidents have done that.
We had asset recovery here before in the former government. It was never challenged. Even Madam Selim said the tax rules, it was never challenged. So why at this time that you come out and challenge the powers given to the president by the Constitution and saying that it is unconstitutional? So we went into that, and the Supreme Court acted in conformity with statute and law. The cooperation between the General Services and Arab is good. As you may know that on our team, we have a representative, even in the IC, in the executive order, we have a representative from the General Services Agency who's now at our headquarters working along with us. And he's very resourceful, he's giving us information about government assets, where they are being moved illegally. And normally we will have that, we always work along with the General Services Agency head to make sure that we coordinate our aspects and our workings, to make sure that we all work in the interest of the government, and to make sure our objectives are collectively achieved. So that is on course. We are working together. Yeah, as you already asked, the existence of IREP is for 12 months. That is continuing for 12 months. But given the time that we spend in court, and given the number of cases that we have on hand, and the number of international interaction that we made, and gains that we have made, we need to end those things to make sure that we bring the Liberian people to speed, and to tell the Liberian people the purpose for which we came, and to also give a result, tangible results to the people for the kind of work we have done and the work that we intend to do. So I think in the president's own opinion, you will see it fit to have the asset team re-announced and reconstituted. Well, I did not listen to Justice Janet, as you indicated. He's the best evidence to what he said. I don't listen to what people say. But the crux of the matter here is that the Supreme Court, if you read the opinion of the Supreme Court said your petition filed is hereby denied. And the asset recovery tax rules is hereby granted to proceed. That is, in the word that they filed for unconstitutionality. That means the president did not have the constitutional power to grant and to announce Executive Order 126. That was the basis of the petition. But the Supreme Court said it is hereby denied. So the Supreme Court said it is not hereby denied because you didn't know. The Supreme Court said it is hereby denied. That means all your things that you are reaching, although you don't have the authority to question it, but it's hereby denied. The basic purpose of the petition was to challenge the president's constitutional power. So I didn't listen to what Kortima General said, and I was not guided by it. This is the best evidence to answer your own question. You said, how do you convince the people? So the last question.
Yeah, how can you convince or certain people? Because you have a fallout with past government. So how do you convince people that your
I did not, let me just clarify this. I did not have a fallout with the past government.
You went and challenged the argument people to court.
I think that was my right under the law.
Yes.
So challenging securing my rights and going to court is not a fallout. It's to establish the authenticity of my rights under the law. And that's what I did. I did not have a fallout. Let me clarify this today.
Okay, so
People should not see this as wish fund. I'm not here to wish on anybody. I'm only here to do a piece of job in conformity with the rule of law. And that rule of law will be fought to the letter. Nothing will bend it. We are not going after people because of what transpired in the past. If you know that you have government access, if you know that you have suspicious access and you are afraid, come and just respectfully submit and turn it over. Because the law that we all think today will take its course. Not Councilor Martin, but the law. The law will be highly respected. The law will be highly effectuated to this day. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think someone you asked about cars that were retrieved from local, right? And what are we doing with this car? Yes, when the local president was suspended, she was asked to turn over government property. And so the next morning, I sent the task force, and she said she was carrying them to LACC, which is her right. And the next day, yes, we went for it at LACC and brought those cars at the General Services Agency. As we brought them in, we asked the local authority, there's someone I think, to come and sign for those cars. When the president leaving, it does not mean the agency is closed. And so they came the next day, they signed for those cars, and we give it to them. Then the question about the car from Moda that was seized. We have said, and continue to say, no minister will purchase car more than $60,000. And the car in question was about $60,000. And so we decided, with the vision of the president, said then we got to use this car for our international guests. So as we speak, we seize our car, and it's right now on the base of the General Services Agency. That's the fact only guest car now that we have. So when you see all of the guests coming, you see that guest car moving our guests from place to place to make sure we service. And so that's why we took delivery of that car. And as I said, there's a regulation, that's why we call it a fleet policy meeting for stakeholders to know your limits. And so we got to respect those laws. Then one ballot asked for whether government properties in the county. He asked whether do we have our employees there. Yes, I will tell you yes. Each of the county, with the exception of Lofa and Nima County, we got two monitors. And these monitors are there to make sure they monitor all government properties in various ministries, agencies, and commissioners assigned in the counties. They are also there to do coding and to make report to us on asset that is not reported to the General Services Agency headquarters. They come and do their assessment, do their coding, and send us the report. And so, for Lofa and Nima, we got 3 because of the size of those counties. We got 3 monitors. We got Upper, Lower, and so they are also there doing the same work and reporting to us. Then when you ask the question as to the cooperation between the asset recovery and GSA, I will tell you yes, the asset recovery, in the wisdom of the president, has decided to head the General Services Agency. And all assets that will be collected by the asset recovery will be duly turned over to the General Services Agency, except for financial side that I don't have control over. But when it comes to physical asset, vehicle, laptop, whatever it is, when you do the collection and retrieval, there will be a program, and I think we organize that program every time that the press will be invited, and and we turn those property over to the general services. So there's a complete 100% cooperation, and that's why we got our team. The asset committee, GSA is also represented, and he's there giving information to them as to where they are. When there's lacking some information, they come to central office, and we'll furnish them whatever information they need to carry on their work. So 100% we are incorporated with them. Thank you.
You left tax business, why you ain't have the tax
So, accident slavery is a normal phenomenon. What is the government doing about it? The way to go about it is to ensure that there can be sufficient awareness on public safety measures. The police has always got people deployed in that corridor to ensure that there can be intervention made when a vehicle loses control. But then again, the thing about accident is not by the will of anybody. So the way to go about it is not to ask what the government is doing, because of course you see that the government has already taken steps. The way to handle it is to tell people not to resort to violence when unforeseen situation occur. It is a very unfortunate situation that somebody going about a normal business but lost his or her life in an accident that was not premeditated. That's why we say it's regrettable. But the public safety measures are there. But it is an accident. So it is not something that was premeditated. The way to also go about it is to create sufficient awareness so that people cannot easily resort to more violence. The other day, the Justice Minister was here, he emphasized the same thing. So as we continue the national conversation, we have to be able to discourage this kind of action from members of the public. And so the restriction has taken effect, and we encourage members of the public to bear in mind that it is being done to assess the level of vulnerability that is currently being observed by the police, and to put into place sufficient measures to avoid the reoccurrence of what we witnessed yesterday. That being said, okay, so Mr. Pia will make a comment, and then we'll close the press conference.
So I think the person who asked the last question asked a very good question. And as a government, we should face that question honestly. Yes, it was an accident. Yes, accidents are unexpected. Yes, we disagree with the violence that was perpetrated by the motorcyclist. And the measures that the police will be putting in place are important. But as a government, we also have a responsibility to ensure that vehicles apply the streets are roadworthy. I think it's a part of the police responsibility. I don't know who else, but you should ensure that when a vehicle is in the street, it is roadworthy. If we don't take that component of our responsibility serious, we'll continue to have a repeat of these kinds of accidents. So I think your question is excellent. We take cue from you as a government, and we ensure that what is not being properly done, we pay some attention to it so that we can prevent the reoccurrence of these kind of situations and claiming lives of our people. Thank you.
We kindly ask you to please stand for a photo.